Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the Schmoes Know, this is Meet the Movie Press, roundtable movie news and commentary from the industry's premier film journalists.
Happy Friday, everyone. This is Meet the Movie Press on the Popcorn Talk Network. I am Mark Reilly, editor-in-chief of schmoesknow.com. Jeff Sneider is
film reporter of TheWrap.com.
And look who is sitting between us. We're just going right into it.
We're so lucky today.
Hi, Tiffany Smith of
Hi, guys.
Movie Threesome, Fandango correspondent, and co-host of DC All Access.
Yep.
She wears many hats.
I wear a lot of hats at once. They're
Yes.
invisible, though.
Baller.
She's a major baller, and before we even went on, she's like, I'm doing 4 podcasts today. Yeah, you're just booked solid.
It's kind of what it is. Like, I have an open day, so I was like, all my friends who have podcasts that they're like, can you come on at some point? I was like, yeah, I'll just pack them all into one day.
I think it's great. I think that's kind of like, what did I just watch? Will Ferrell Takes the Field, that HBO thing where he goes and plays 10 baseball games at once. That's sort of what this feels like, but we're honored that you're starting with us.
I'm pumped to be
and we can give you things to talk about throughout the rest of the day.
It's true.
Exactly.
It's true. I'll like take all the knowledge that you guys give me and take it as if it's my own, so I'll sound super smart later today.
Great.
I love this. No, we've been trying to, as you guys know, we've been trying to get Miss Smith on this here podcast for a long time, and then 'twas at Disneyland where I texted you. I went, oh, because Disneyland is one of your favorite places.
It's true.
And I was there.
I got my Mickey Mouse nails from D23.
There you go. And that's what made me think of it, because I was on Star Tours waiting to go on. And Tiffany, I know we're going to get into this, but you were interviewing some of the Force Awakens actors, and you just killed it on one of the questions. We'll get into
There's
that.
going to be a lot of D23 talk, I feel like, today.
Yeah, a lot of news happened there. And guys, please join in. You're on the live chat right now. It's youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network. A live chat is happening there right now.
/ guys. / Not a backslash.
Did I say backslash?
Is it? No,
it's Friday, and it's early.
It's true.
And so, yeah, you guys are all there. I see you talking, so this is great. And guys, as always, please, iTunes, share, rate, subscribe.
I love you too, Jasmine, and loading bars.
Yeah. I love that.
Like peeking into the little chat over here.
We got the live chat,
Drew.
so please be nice. Actually, on Meet the Movie Press, everybody is awesome because none of the trolls wake up this early.
Yeah.
They're like more at night for like the Schmoes No main show, pretty much.
The Schmoes.
See, that's how early it is. So why don't we start right away with Tiffany? What we always do here is like, how the heck did you get into this crazy field that you're in right now?
Well, I went to school for broadcast journalism. I went to Syracuse, and at the time I wanted to be a pop singer.
Were you in Newhouse?
I was in Newhouse.
That's impressive. I got rejected from Newhouse.
Oh,
really?
Snap.
Only place I got rejected.
I got
Nice.
in and was on a roll.
Damn, look at that, girl.
Oh, that's not surprising.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue. I'm impressed.
Sorry that you feel rejected. I still love you.
I'm impressed. Thank you, honey.
So yeah, I went to Syracuse for broadcast journalism. I knew I wanted to do something in entertainment, but that was kind of the closest thing to a real life job instead of like acting or being a pop singer. So I minored in music industry because I wanted to be able to take a look at my own contracts if I did go the pop singer route.
Good thinking. Jeez.
This is totally my parents telling me that I needed to do this. So graduated from college and moved to Manhattan and started working for a talent booking agency because I was too nervous to audition.
Wow.
And through that, it was just like one of the agents there, she worked with on-camera talent. She was like, I don't understand why you're not auditioning. So this is kind of saying it was a long time ago, but my first audition that I got was from Craigslist.
Wow.
And it was
Nice.
for an AOL countdown show. So it's like when anybody is like, don't go on Craigslist for auditions, you never know what kind of auditions you're going to find on there. Obviously, it didn't have any like money symbols or like Z's where there should be S's. But so I did that pilot and actually ended up like years later co-hosting some stuff with Jesse Sneider, who was one of the co-hosts on that show, on that pilot. So it was like 5 years later, we ended up doing stuff for PlayStation together. Crazy, small world.
Nice.
So yeah, I did that and was in New York for a couple years, worked for Activision, worked for Oxygen, and then I was like, I am a nerd and I need to work for G4. So I moved to LA with no job. Was like, I'm just gonna try it out and see what happens. And within like the first month, I was doing the feed on Attack of the Show, and then started doing stuff for X-Play, and then started working for Marvel, and then started working for DC, and met the Schmoes guys at an audition, and so started coming in and co-hosting on that.
So are you basically on camera every day?
Yeah.
Not every day. I feel
She had to pause.
I feel like there's probably, because I'm like, do I shoot something? Right now, every Monday we shoot an episode of Movie Threesome, and then Thursdays is Schmoes if I'm here. And then we'll do Fandango stuff. So like last week I was at D23. The week before that I was in New York twice shooting junkets.
Wow.
So just every week is totally different. But
that's fun. It keeps you on your toes.
Totally.
Well, the talent rises to the top. So it's like, and seriously, I've known Tiffany now for a very long time, and I'm just not surprised. What's surprising to me was you're like, oh, I was too shy to go on auditions. Like, what?
I was nervous.
That's the last thing we know you as, shy.
Yeah,
but it's scary. Like that.
I get that. I get the butterflies and the, having to maybe perform, or like I started as an actor and I was awful. Like I would go on auditions and I would just be like and they're like, who is this guy? And I was a theater major of all things, so I didn't do well until you just get a little comfortable. Hey, what's this? Hey, everybody, hold on,
guys.
check your phone.
I have to go do my 5th podcast. Bye, guys.
That's my Bumble. I'm blowing up over here.
You're
Watch
blowing
out.
up.
Nice.
Tiffany and I just crossed paths.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what Bumble is.
Neither do I, actually.
I don't either. I just agreed. There's some serious like energy going on this morning. That's what Tiffany, you do to this Meet the Movie Press podcast.
I like it.
Which is awesome because I always talk when we get someone like Tiffany on the show who's in front of the camera, who's doing like the junkets and the premieres and interviewing like the Force Awakens cast. Like I always say that we're behind the computers, the ugly ones, like
right,
doing whatever. But that's not true.
Do
We're
people
all
say like face for podcast now instead of like face for radio?
Yeah.
You got a face for podcast, kid. That's great.
I mean, what about podcasts like silky smooth voices for a podcast? Or it's like, because I get radio voice,
Well, I mean, if it's a video podcast, then that's different. But if it's just audio.
I wanted to ask you a generic question that a lot of my friends ask me, because it's just the sort of question that you ask journalists. Who has like been your favorite interview and least favorite interview, if you could
That's good.
say those things?
Least, it's hard because I generally, like, this sounds super cheesy, but I'm pretty much an optimist in all circumstances. So it's like, even if it was a bad interview, I'm like, there's something that was interesting, or I learned something, or, you always go into them thinking maybe that person was just having a really bad day. I think the worst interviews that I've ever had that feel difficult, there were 2 of them. One, when they're groups. It's really hard when you get a group of 4 actors together and you have to do an interview because you're like, I've got 3 to 5 minutes with these people.
And you feel like you have to include everybody. Like you can't let one guy just twist in the wind there at the end if he's not as big a celebrity or something.
Or if or if they start to like bond and go off onto their own like rail of whatever, and you're like, like sometimes I feel like the teacher where I'm like, hey guys, okay. Cool.
Yep. I had to do that for like 7 Psychopaths. It was like Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell's hilarious.
Oh, I love Sam Rockwell.
Oh, and COlin Farrell too. So it was a bunch of the guys.
Yeah.
You're like trying
the hand
to
goes up, the mouth goes shut.
Just let them have fun.
And then, I mean, one of the hardest ones, which was a bummer, but I was with Johnny Depp. It was that one was a hard one. He just wasn't really all there in the moment.
Wasn't all there.
Together there in the moment.
Was this around Transcendence?
Or Mordecai? I was going to say.
Anyways.
Mordecai. Oh.
You know where he was, though? He was at D23 this weekend.
He totally was.
That's a nice segue.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
I get that. So talking about Johnny Depp real quick, did you get to interview him there?
I did not, because I was only there on Saturday, so I only did the live action panel, and he didn't do press. He didn't come to the backstage. This is one of those things too where every job you do is totally different, where I don't know if you've done press line before at D23.
No, never. This was my first D23.
Okay. So this was my first D23 as well, but they have the stage set up, and then in the back they built a room for the press line, but it wasn't a line. It was like shaped like a U. So all the press is in the middle of this U, and the actors are just walking around it. It was really kind of weird and different, but cool. So we got people from Jungle Book. We got people from Pete's Dragon.
Did you interview the kid from Jungle Book?
Yeah,
Neil?
Yeah, I did interview Neil. He was so cute.
Cool.
That kid looked like a winner.
He is the cutest, and this is his first acting job ever.
Oh my god!
And I guess he was saying that on set, before he would do a take, he'd be like, "I'm gonna kneel this," and I thought he said "nail this," and he was like, "No, I said kneel." So I was like, "I'm gonna Tiffany these interviews," and he was like, "Yeah, you can say that." I was like,
"That's cool."
He's like, "No," he's just shaking his head.
This old lady is so dumb.
So did you guys all see because I wasn't there. I was covering it, but we had the schmoes there, and we had my managing editor Alex Welsh was there. Did you guys see the Jungle Book footage?
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
You didn't?
You didn't see the trailer? You weren't, because you were backstage?
I hear it was amazing.
The only stuff that I got to see was the Civil War trailer.
Okay.
Because that was the very start of the panel. Right. So I snuck out, watched that, and then ran in to do interviews with Chris and Anthony after.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that was the only part I saw.
Okay, and you
I saw the Jungle Book trailer / footage, whatever.
Yeah, I'm interested in this.
And it was by far the winner of D23.
Oh.
That's what I've heard.
Above, to me, Captain America Civil War.
That's what I heard.
People say that's crazy.
I thought you were shaking your head. It wasn't that great, but I was like, yeah, I heard. Oh, that's awesome.
To me, Jungle Book looked incredible.
I can't wait. And I mean, I forgot Bill Murray was the voice of Baloo.
Yeah.
And Ben Kingsley.
I know.
He's singing Bare Necessities.
I know. Like right there, I'm like, oh, yep, no, I'm in.
The trailer closes with a look at Christopher Walken's King Louis. Sorry.
Oh,
Prince
that's
Louis.
right.
King Louis. Idris Elba's Shere Khan looks amazing. I mean, this movie's going to be special.
Oh, man. I can't wait.
I get that it feels like it took the show because of the fact that we've seen Civil War stuff. We've seen Avengers. We've seen that world.
Yeah.
That this is something totally new. And apparently everyone was talking about the performance capture being so amazing. Because I was like, wait, so is Baloo like a cartoon bear or like a real scary bear? And they're like, no, he's like a grizzly bear.
Yeah, he's like a real bear.
Oh, man. This is going to be amazing. Crazy. And what I loved about D23 is that it felt like a version of Comic-Con with just different. I know it's all Disney.
Yeah.
But you get the Jungle Book, you get Pete's Dragon, you get Civil War and Marvel, you get Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's just like this crazy slate. Like Disney's on top of the world right now with all this stuff.
They really are. So the mocap looks really cool. Favreau came out.
Yeah.
I was excited. They had Lupita and Ben Kingsley there.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, listen, Civil War looked pretty awesome, right?
The thing that I love about it is that I feel like all of the actors are really good friends now. Like you see, first Anthony Mackie came out. If you didn't get to see the panel, like Anthony Mackie comes out because they're shooting right now. Like they literally flew the night before from Germany to come do the panel, and we're flying back that night to continue shooting. So Anthony Mackie comes out, does his little intro, and you're like, hey, it's awesome. He's there, like super pumped. Falcon, he was awesome in Ant-Man. And then he's like, oh, and we couldn't do this without bringing out another guy. And then Chris Evans comes out, and you're like, this is so cool. And Feige's like, yeah, we just feel like we always have to show some footage when we come to one of these things. And then they show the footage, and you're like, there was obviously, I mean, seeing Crossbones looked epic.
Nice.
The moment for me that really stood out, though, was when we got to see Black Panther. And
it's just a one little shot.
Out, and it was quick, but it was like, that looks badass.
That's great. A lot of people are saying here on the live chat that they wish they got a peek at Spidey. Yes.
No, I liked that we didn't actually.
I still think
it would have been weird actually for like us to be talking about the new Spider-Man and no one has seen it because the trailer hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, and also here's the thing. Yes, it's part of the Marvel Disney world just for these couple films.
Sure,
but it's Fox.
Sony.
Sony. Sorry, Sony. So I feel like they're going to be the ones who get any of that stuff first.
I think people are getting a little carried away when they think of Spider-Man, like, oh, now he's a Disney product. Like, he's not. He's definitely a Sony product.
Right, he's on lease, so to speak, right? So it's like Sony could still maybe botch the landing if they don't do it.
I don't think they're going to botch it. I'm just saying, like,
just with their movie. I mean, it's hard to talk about Spider-Man because there's so many,
I just think it's so early. Like, I feel like we've gotten to this place where we expect things so much earlier.
I want it now. You shot it. You just shot it. Why can't I see it?
Yeah. Right. And I was actually, the thing I thought we might get ahead of time was I thought that Benedict Cumberbatch was going to show up at the panel. I thought he might come out in his Doctor Strange costume.
That would be cool.
Just because we've seen that kind of stuff happen with some of the other panels at Comic-Con with Marvel. But, I mean, the concept art that we got for that blew my mind. Like, as I was watching it, I was like, it looks like Cosmic Inception to me. That's how cool it looked.
It did look pretty neat.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of you guys. I was just getting the reports and covering it, via other outlets and the guys there. So you got to see Doctor Strange. We're kind of, let's do the D23 wrap up here.
It was like the concept art.
Yeah, it was the concept art. Yeah, you got some Civil War, and that was Marvel. What else from Marvel did you get?
No, that was it.
That was it?
Yeah.
Jungle Book. There was Finest Hours, Pete's Dragon. Which, they just showed a little bit of.
Pete's Dragon was literally one of the most impactful films to me as a kid. I used to watch it and cry. That was the first movie I ever cried.
I've never seen it, actually.
Oh my gosh.
I grew up with that movie.
Yeah.
Like
Elliot.
My favorite. I mean, it's like Elliot when he's coming and Pete's the dragon is so invisible and he's kind of moving up and down.
The kid looks good.
That got me.
Oaks Fegley or whatever his name is. What a name.
Robert Redford is in it.
Well,
I mean,
and
can we talk about that for a minute?
I mean,
Bryce, but I mean, Robert Redford, he sounds like he's doing the Mickey Rooney role. Wait, is it Mickey Rooney that was in the original? I can't remember.
I got a little confused on the press notes because I thought he was doing the voice of the dragon.
Of the dragon there.
Oh, really?
For a second, that's the way it looked, and I was like, wait, is he? But he wasn't there to do any interviews. It was just Bryce.
So that looked cool.
Yeah.
What else was it? There was Pirates, which I'm checked out on long
Turner's
ago.
Coming back, though.
No, I'm checked out, too.
Weren't there those reports, like, months ago? Because he was like, he went to go shoot.
I think there was rumors, but there wasn't anything official, and it makes sense because look, the only thing that's going to get me back into Pirates of the Caribbean is wondering what happened to Will Turner, because I did like that storyline. Because Part 4 just I'm not gonna lie, like Mark said earlier, I'm a massive Disney fan, so almost anything that they do I'm super excited about, and I had such a connection to those films because I would go to Disneyland all the time as a kid, and so the ride was my first introduction to it, and so the movies come out and the first ones were really good, and then they kind of went off the rails, and so I'm hoping that this one brings it back.
You guys are adorable.
Onto the track.
I saw that first Pirates of the Caribbean. I had seen enough.
I
didn't see 2, 3, 4, 5,
I loved
6.
the first one, and I went in wanting to see the second one, and then the second one lost me, and I have never been back.
The third one where he goes off and where he has like all those weird visions.
Biggest travesty of an Oscar nomination in the history of the Academy is that Johnny Depp nomination. They should be ashamed of themselves for that.
So we're really excited about the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie that's coming out.
So, but like in terms of like movie press, like a lot of outlets did break out that Orlando Bloom coming back as Will Turner's story.
Yep.
To me, the stuff was happening so quickly, and I sort of told Disney this, that I really didn't have time to look up.
Yeah.
And there were certain things that I had, like I was writing up Marvel, and fortunately, Finest Hours was next, and no offense to that film, my readers aren't as interested in that.
No,
so it's like I could use the Finest Hours presentation to sort of catch up on Marvel.
Well, and that one definitely did feel like a strange one to promote at this event, just because of the fact that it was
it's part of the slate. I get it.
It is, but it was like we got Chris Evans and Anthony Mackie coming back.
Yeah, it's tough to then.
Chris to
follow
Pine coming
the Marvel.
And you're like, this is like
tough
an
to follow
actual
Marvel.
like heart-wrenching story, and then to go into Pete's Dragon after that, and you're like, oh, this is
and then they showed some Alice in Wonderland, that's another one where I was like,
look,
checked out.
It's two movies with Johnny Depp just like spin him off, and he's just like it just goes off.
And I want to talk about the Star Wars at D23 stuff, but this is a good moment to just interject here.
Sure.
I know we've been bad mouthing Johnny Depp for the last few minutes. I hear Black Mass is awesome.
Yeah. I do too. He looks amazing.
The thing with him too is that, and he's not the same. He's not Harrison Ford yet, but where it's like Crystal Skull, terrible movie. He was not checked into it. He didn't want to be doing it, and so it's like I feel like there's moments with Johnny Depp where he checks out and he's like, I'm just gonna go and shoot this thing, and then when he is on board to play, even I like
Black Mass.
People will say whatever you want. Mordecai was interesting. The way it was promoted was so bad, but you could tell that he actually was excited to be doing something a little bit different.
Interesting failures are interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like with those two, I'm hoping that he's excited about it again, and it's not just like, I'm going to do the same thing all over.
I heard one from one major critic who thought it's Depp's best performance.
Black Mass.
I believe it.
And that he could even win an Oscar.
I totally believe it, because the first trailer came out and blew me away. I was just like, okay, I'm in. Just on his performance.
Yeah, he looked great. And I was a doubter at first. I don't think he's going to win an Oscar. It's a tough year again, but I can't wait for Black Mass.
Yeah, me too. So the rest of the news out there that was breaking, and like you said, Jeff, it was so fast.
Yeah,
really
so everything ended at D23 with the Star Wars stuff. So let's talk about some of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would, like I said, with the same feeling. Everything was happening so fast that you're like, oh geez.
Yeah.
We actually had a little bit of a break before the Force Awakens cast came back.
Okay.
But I mean, what's so cool is like Daisy Ridley. This is her first press line. Like,
really?
Yeah, because they didn't do any press at Comic-Con.
That's right.
And so this is really the first.
You're getting
time
the
where
first interviews with Daisy Ridley. That's pretty cool.
Well, and all
of
them walking down the line, where it's like, Oscar Isaac. Obviously, he's kind of the one with the most. Practice at this with all the movies that he's been working on. And obviously it's like, sometimes they come back and they're like, you can have one question with each person because they're trying to get them through so quickly. And they're like, yeah, he's got to go back to set. And you're like, oh, you mean because he's going to go play Apocalypse? That's what he's got to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of epic and kind of insane when you think about where he's at within geek culture right now.
Yeah, he's had a good year, I would say.
Oscar's the man.
Yeah.
He's so good. I'm sorry. He's just amazing.
Show me a hero.
Good?
Yeah.
Good.
I've been digging it on HBO.
Okay.
That's the thing too with this cast that I feel like they're all so cool. Like they're all really chill. They're all really excited to be there. And I think the biggest moment was talking with them about the poster, because for John and for Daisy was kind of like, I didn't even know, I hadn't seen it, I didn't know it was coming out today, and initially I had thought that was the poster for the movie. Like, no, this is just a D23 exclusive.
Right, there's because a lot of people kind of were hard on that poster, and I'm like, look, this is Drew Struzan. I mean, he's like the man, and this is a great little snapshot because it was small.
Yeah,
like we're gonna get a bigger.
Well, and you're like, come
version.
on. We're seeing John Boyega with the lightsaber on.
And it's a free poster. Shut up.
I know. Free poster, and you guys are bitching.
And we're getting reveals of stuff, which,
John
I thought
Boyega
I was like,
holding a lightsaber.
The lightsaber. And then, so we're interviewing the cast, and Daisy comes back, and I'm chatting, and, it's like, you guys know this. You prepare certain questions, but you don't know where the interview's going to go when they come back there. They may say you literally get one question. So you're like... Yeah. All right, what am I going to do? Yeah. So she comes back and I'm chatting with her and I was like, I just feel like from her perspective, it's like you see the poster, you go up there, and being a girl who's really into Star Wars, because I also host a Star Wars podcast called Far, Far Away on Geek Nation. Check it out.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
But that she comes back and she's so excited. And I was like, I saw the poster and I was like, I hope that you feel as badass as I think you are from this poster. And she's like, it's kind of interesting, like finally getting to see myself up there with the staff. It's so cool. And I was like, so could that staff possibly be Darth Plagueis's? And she just looks at me and is like blank-faced for a second. And it, like, I didn't prepare to be like, I'm going to try and stump somebody today.
It was just natural.
The conversation happened and I asked the question. Yeah. Sometimes someone opens the door and you just walk through it.
Oh, wait, there's a thing called Darth Plagueis?
Okay, so
Darth
Jeff is a well-known non-Star Wars knowledgeable.
And it's a bow? It's a staff?
No, it's a staff. So
the bow is a staff.
The name of a Sith Lord.
Let me just give you a little bit of background. In part 3, in episode 3, we hear about Darth Plagueis that can maybe use the Force to help you not die or keep you alive or whatever it was called.
I saw episode 3. That's Sith, right?
Yeah, Sith.
Oh, yeah. It's the only one I saw in theaters.
Have you heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? That's what it is. And so there's a lot of rumors going on right now that Darth Plagueis might be in the movie, that it might be Andy Serkis, and that the staff that Daisy Ridley's character has is... and this is new for me. I didn't know Darth Plagueis had a staff.
Yeah. Well, there's images online, too, of Darth Plagueis with the staff that look very similar to the staff that they have given her.
Okay.
And just because we've heard things where it's like relic hunters and people finding things, obviously the rumors of Luke's lightsaber, and so it falls into line where it's like someone could be finding these relics.
Yeah.
And it would just make sense that this is one of them. Mm-hmm. And that it's like in the way the Emperor had 2 names, or a lot of the Sith Lords have 2 names, it's like... we're talking about Snoke. And I'm like, there's a possibility that Snoke is actually Darth Plagueis. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know. So...
Are you following us,
you're
Jeff?
Like, what the F
Jesus Christ.
Nerd talk.
This is going so over my head right now. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I brought Tiffany on for a reason.
Yeah, no.
We're having a Star Wars intervention.
I'm impressed.
You need to get on board with it. But you know what I loved about that moment is Daisy Ridley's face. Like, look, I'm going to take it as this. She was like... I don't know. You got her. There might be... I'm reading into it a little too much because of my geekdom. There might be some Darth Plagueis there. but who knows? I mean, this is all speculation.
Well, let's talk about the three sort of newsier points of that presentation.
We'll get back to the
first and most importantly, COlin Trevarro was confirmed for episode 9.
I thought you were going to say Star Wars Land.
That's one of the three things.
That's one of the three things.
Okay.
But
sorry.
we'll start with the big director news.
Okay.
Yes.
COlin Trevarro confirmed. They kind of just it just kind of came out of nowhere in the presentation. They didn't make a big deal out of it. They're just like, oh yeah, and COlin Trevarro is doing episode 9.
Do you believe it's because MTMP dropped that?
I think so. They kind of
too.
underplayed it.
Yeah.
I don't know. He wasn't there, was he? I don't even remember. I didn't know. Trevarro? Because I didn't even look up. Again. So credit to MTMP. Literally, especially because
it
was
he broke it the night before Comic-Con.
I wrote the story up, and then I stayed after the panel for like a half an hour, sort of putting a bow on the 7 stories that I wrote, and I checked my phone, and MTMP had texted me. He's like, "What? No credit, man? Like, what the fuck?" I was like, dude, I'm sorry. It's not the first thing when I'm filing these stories for a trade. Right. But yes, everyone should have credited him. He took a lot of shit the last few weeks while he twisted in the wind.
Yeah, he was right.
He was right.
He was right, and then the fallout of that, I feel like it's not just in the movie press world, but the fandom. A lot of people didn't like that appointment of COlin Trevarro because of
Why?
I don't,
because he broke it?
No. Just the director, because of some people didn't like Jurassic World, and they don't think he's a good fit for it. I totally disagree. I think he's a fantastic fit.
Yeah. I
think
he's good.
He is perfect.
Good
for
choice.
it.
I think it was a great fit, and I think, it's cool to get to talk about this, and I'm incredibly blessed to get to talk to these directors. Where it's I got to talk to COlin at Jurassic World, and hearing him talk about the fact that he's like, I'm a massive fan, but you gotta hold on to it a little bit, but not so tightly that you can't make it your own and put your own stamp on it. And I think that that's something where it's like, not saying one director is better or worse than another, but I think that's a unique gift in its own right to be able to go into a world that's already been created and say, yeah, I'm willing to work within this world, also have corporate people over my head, and put my own stamp on it. And I think that he is someone that can do a really great job of that. And financially, obviously, from a business standpoint, people really liked the movie. And then it's like, I got to talk with JJ at this panel at D23, and I was like, do you feel like it's a moment for you where finally you can kind of take more pressure off as more directors get announced? Because
good point.
Everyone had kind of been wanting JJ, myself included, to come back the last one of this trilogy. But to me, it's like, if he's willing to say, yeah, Colin's the guy for this, I trust him.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it does take some of the pressure off to think that, other directors are gonna have to take some of this on.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool and interesting, because you hear him talking about how much of a fan he is and the pressure that's there, but that doesn't take away from the awesomeness of it.
Well, it really, for me, he works well in this studio system. Look at Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I mean, and you also go back to when Kathleen Kennedy was looking for Episode 7 director. They went to Brad Bird. So the story goes, and Brad Bird says, no, I can't do it.
Yep.
However, you need to look at this kid. COlin Trevarro is great. Look at Safety Not Guaranteed. And then it just didn't happen that way, but Look at what happened with Frank Marshall. Gets him for Jurassic World.
Yeah.
He knocks it out of the park. I feel like he is getting those studio notes. He's getting all these different voices, and he's like, yeah, okay, great. Yeah. He's just a good collaborator.
Yeah.
And You're a Towel on YouTube here, the handle. What a great handle, You're a Towel.
Okay.
Says, Trevarro fits the mold. I really like this with the original trilogy directors. Lucas equals Abrams. Kirshner equals Rian Johnson, and now Marquand with Trevarro. I think Trevarro is actually way better than Marquand. But I agree with that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. I dig the appointment. And before we get to the other two Star Wars news points, I'll give you guys a little breaking news here.
Let's do it.
About COlin Trevorrow's next movie, which is going to be Book of Henry.
Book of Henry, yes.
And I was talking to my boy Justin Kroll, who we've had on the show before. He broke the two young leads in that film this week.
Yeah.
Jacob Tremblay and Jaden Lieberer, the kid from St. Vincent. So they're going to be joining Naomi Watts.
Nice.
And so in talking to Justin, what I sort of learned about Book of Henry and heard is that Book of Henry is going to be about a young genius, a boy genius, who is dying of cancer.
Oh.
And so he writes a book that lays out the perfect crime to get rich.
For
his mother and his brother, who he's going to be leaving behind, because his cancer treatments have really, put the family in a bad financial situation.
Wait, so is this the first time we're hearing the actual plot?
This is brand new plot details on Book of Henry.
Guys.
COlin Trevarro's next movie. Boy genius, dying of cancer. His medical costs have put the family in a bad financial situation, and he writes a book laying out how to commit the perfect crime to get the family rich.
Really
okay, guess what? Sign me up.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
It sounds really cool.
It sounds really cool. And
go.
Look, I just think with the haters on Trevarro, listen to this movie. He's able to do this now. He did Jurassic World. He's like, all right, one for you, one for me, Book of Henry, and then he's going. Probably one for everybody, but Star Wars. This is that's an amazing.
I'm excited.
Plot. What do you think, Tiff?
I like, as you're saying, I think that he is doing a really good job of balancing wanting to do both sides of the coin as a director, where it's like, I want to do these really big movies, but at the same time, I have these smaller stories that I want to tell that has such a bigger focus on human interaction. But I think that also helps with the bigger movies, because it's like something like Star Wars. It's based off the interaction, but also I want to know that this guy can do action sequences, and he can, because we saw it in Jurassic World. At least I really enjoyed them. So I think that that's one of the things where it's like he just keeps adding more and more things to his bag of tricks. Is that what it is?
I'd like to see more directors adopt that sort of strategy. One small, one big.
But not every director can do that, though.
No,
that's
of course
thing.
not.
Not every director.
But a lot of them
really
can, and they don't.
ones.
I'd love Bryan Singer to go back to making some smaller films.
Would you want to see Michael Bay do a small film, though?
Yeah, he kind of just did in 13 hours, and it looks good.
I don't like Michael Bay. I just don't. I mean, look, if this is his small film with what's it called? Please help me out, Jeff. The Benghazi movie.
Yeah. Sorry.
What's the title?
13 hours.
13 hours, thank you. If that's a small movie, great. If it's good, then I will take back everything I say about Michael Bay.
I just don't think every director needs to be able to do both. Because that's like saying every actor needs to be able to do every type of film.
You're right. I didn't mean to generalize there. But anyways, we'll move off of COlin Trevarro, and we'll talk about the other two newsy things that came out of D23 at Star Wars. We're going to save the theme parks for last. Yeah. Let's talk about Rogue One.
Yes, big news there.
And we had Mads Mikkelsen joining the cast.
Perfect.
And who was the other one? Alan Tudyk. And he's going to be playing a performance capture character.
This
first
movie,
photo looked awesome.
The first photo looks amazing.
Take it away.
No, this movie just keeps getting better and better. And to have the first, and then what was interesting to me too was that the anthology,
a Star Wars story now.
is gone, and it was a Star Wars story. I kind of like that. I just don't. I wonder if Disney's kind of figuring out the marketing behind it, and they're throwing these. What do you think of the Star Wars story?
I never liked the word anthology, and it also seemed to imply that these anthology films would be connected somehow, and I don't necessarily need that either.
Exactly.
What I like about these films is that because I'm not a Star Wars guy and don't know all the canon and all that shit, these feel like my movies for me because it's a self-contained sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a brilliant decision to do this first Star Wars story and do how they get the plans for the Death Star. It makes sense. You get that nostalgia factor because it's going to be all... I mean, I'm seeing some of the leaked photos on there of what might or might not be some locations from A New Hope or... definitely there are some stormtrooper images, and it's the old school stormtroopers, and so I get it. But that's a great entry point for for you, Jeff, who doesn't really like Star Wars or follow Star Wars these two geeks.
It's more follow. You know, it's not that I've seen Star Wars movies. I'm like, oh, this is bad, Transformers. It was never really for me, but this feels like it is. Yeah. And I love that all the cast members, were sort of confirmed. We don't need to hear Ben Mendelsohn be like, well, they never called me yet. Right. No, my phone hasn't been ringing.
Yeah. No, it's a great cast. I love the diversity in it. I love that Felicity is she looks badass.
There's a lot of actors of color in this film.
Yep. It's really great. I mean, I think that not a lot of people have really looked at that. I mean, that photo, you're like, look at, everybody's there.
And the part of it that I really liked, it looks like, when Vanity Fair will do a spread of the top 20 actresses that you should keep your eye on. Yeah. It looks very much like that, where it's
it's a little magazine spready.
Yeah, but they're not, it's not like they're interacting with each other. And I know that we've heard the stories that this is a rebel team that goes to get the Death Star plans. And to me, they really just look like like they're not a team at all, that how are we going to see them all come together?
That might be
could be really cool and an interesting story where it's like, well, somebody else puts them together and says you need this person, and then it made me start thinking like, could this be a little bit like in a totally different world, but like Ocean's 11 or Expendables, where
I
it's
totally
like,
see that.
we need to bring this person in to do this, and we need to bring this person in to do this.
Yeah.
And then the interesting thing off of that is, if this film does really well, it could be something that's like, oh, here's another one based off of that group. Like, here's a couple of them who go on another mission, where it's like you could get sucked into that because now you're
Absolutely.
like, I saw this first one, really liked it. I would like to see what other missions they go on.
You know what? I've been wondering that if there will be sequels to these things.
Rogue One, 2.
Yeah.
or Rogue 2.
Yeah.
Rogue One, their second mission. Huh?
Rogue One.
Maybe.
Again.
Disney call.
Yeah.
And then the last thing to come out of D23, which they sort of played up as the big announcement, was Star Wars Lands in Anaheim and Orlando.
And I was there on Wednesday with my girlfriend for her birthday, and we were scoping out where Star Wars Land is going to be. We were like, is there over there? Wait, maybe.
Where's the 14 acres?
We're really excited. I mean,
That's the crazy
who's
thing
not
about
going to be
Disneyland,
excited?
though. It's like they're not invisible walls, but they have walls all around there, so you don't see like where the roads are, where stuff is going on. So you have no idea where there's a massive plot of property that is just like empty, that they've just been waiting to build on.
Yeah.
And I think, it's like obviously Star Wars has been within the world of Disneyland for a while now, because Star Tours has been there for a really long time. Tomorrowland with Space Mountain, even though it's not Star Wars, it's like you could easily see the connection there.
Yeah.
But I think it's obviously like, and that was another thing I talked to JJ about. I was like, did you ever think you'd be working on a film where it would end up having a massive theme park based around it? And he was like, well, I would say I'm just like borrowing it a little bit. This is really George Lucas's world, and that's what the park is going to be based off of. And I was like, yeah, but it's still like they're going to base things off that come out of The Force Awakens. There's going to be characters in there, and where I'm like, that's one of my biggest dreams.
BB-8
in some way. Oh my God, BB-8 like rolling around the park. Holy moly.
I know, I'm going to be so excited.
I'm going to want to buy everything. I still get excited when I go into the stores in Disneyland now and they're selling Star Wars comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's something totally new. Like,
and I can see the presence of Star Wars and Marvel there. Because, like I said, Thor and Captain America are walking around Disneyland right now, just like Mickey and Minnie.
Yeah.
So we're going to get Darth Vader walking around. 2 stormtroopers while I was getting on Star Tours. I mean, we were literally about to walk on the shuttle, and then the whole line went, and I turned around, and there's stormtroopers waving everybody through, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is new. This is this is rad.
They have Death Star balloons.
Yes, I mean, so it's really amazing. I just want to
It'll be cool.
I want to get your thoughts on Avatar Land at Disneyland. Do you?
I didn't even. Is that
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's Avatar Land
right
coming.
now
There's not.
or coming?
Yeah,
Disneyland?
yeah. Avatar Land.
Fox doesn't have a theme park.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Wait,
am I wrong?
Avatar is not Disney, though.
I know it's not. That's what it's.
Yeah, but it's going to go somewhere.
Hold on,
Is it
real
going to
quick.
Universal?
It's definitely not going to Disney. Disney wouldn't do a park that's not their
At
property.
Disney World.
Yeah.
Avatar
No.
Land.
I was going to say they would.
Avatar
They would
Land.
license it.
The world of Avatar is a themed area currently being constructed in the southwest portion of Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park at Walt Disney
So many
World.
lands.
What?
Yeah, so Avatar Land for me.
Seems weird.
Yeah, this is my point. Nobody gives a shit. Right?
Nobody cares
nobody's
now.
listening, but
But in 5 years, when all those sequels come out, you're going to be caring again.
Maybe. I just, you know what, for me, and this is a topic for another time, but Avatar just didn't leave a pop culture imprint in my mind, in my opinion.
I think you're right. I'll be excited about it when it comes out. But it's the interesting part to me is that this is a park, and Harry Potter did this. But this is like one of the first times for Disney that they're building out an entire land based off of one world.
Yeah.
Like Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, they're not based off of one movie that Disney has done. It's like Frontierland has a bunch of different stuff in it. So that's what's really interesting to me about this one, that it's one land based off of one film world. So it'll be kind of new and different, where it's like, even the small stuff where it's like taking photos with the different characters.
Right.
I don't think you're going to see Han Solo like hanging out in the cantina all the time, but there's going to be a photo op with Han Solo in the same way that there are photo ops throughout the park with Mickey Mouse or Pluto or whatever it is.
No, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I think overall, what I enjoyed the most about this panel was the fact that I loved that they said prior to, we're not giving you a trailer. It's not happening. It's going to happen in the fall.
Yeah.
And now I feel like every time they say stuff, I trust them with it. I don't think they're going to surprise me. Disney has done a great job of saying, okay, if we're going to show something, we don't talk about it, and then we'll show it. If we're not going to show it, we let you know that we're not going to show it.
Yeah, their marketing actually building up to this has been really great, in my opinion. You know, the teases are nice. The trailer at where did the Star Wars Celebrations was great.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when they're like, oh, we're not showing you new footage, but we're giving you all this. It's great. So I'm having fun with it.
It was very well planned. So should we close the book on D23?
Let's close the book because, man, we could go for hours.
All right.
Let's talk a little bit about...
D23, the book is closed, but real quickly, there was one other piece of Disney news this week that made some waves.
Okay.
What are you going to say?
The Rock.
Yes.
Doing Jungle Cruise.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It broke while I was walking by Jungle Cruise.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. It was a little weird. I was like, huh? What? Huh? So, yeah.
I'm so excited about this. Like, first of all, I love The Rock. He's like one of my favorite actors in that genre. Kind of funny. What was the one? Oh gosh, the Rundown. The Rundown that he did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. I love that movie, and I feel like that could be kind of a character that would be within this Jungle Cruise world. It will be interesting to see what the story actually is, and I'm starting to get a little bit more into acting stuff as well. So as soon as that news broke, I emailed my manager and was like, so any way that we can get me into the Jungle Cruise movie?
playing The Rock's daughter.
Yeah.
Anything. I don't even care if I'm like the girl who gets eaten by a lion off of the Jungle Cruise boat. That's fine with me.
It's going to be interesting. Years ago before Pirates of the Caribbean, I would have gone, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
But they did it with Pirates of the Caribbean. They can make a good story, so I'm interested.
They said that it's going to be period. THR reported it, so it's going to be a period piece, whereas before, when Tom Hanks and Tim Allen were attached, it was not. It was set in modern day.
Right.
I don't know what the story's going to be. Mm-hmm. To me, it's like Dwayne Johnson doing another sort of journey to the center of the earth kind of thing.
Yeah. It's got that feel.
So,
a little bit.
I wasn't like, it wasn't as cool to me as like Ryan Gosling doing Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I do get nervous about movies based on theme park rides, but with The Rock and Disney, obviously there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
It's also just, I feel like the thing of, even when Pirates came out, the first one, I think people were more accepting of it just being a fun film. Like, this is just a fun movie that we're going to go in, enjoy it, kind of check out for a little bit. I'm not expecting something mind-blowing from it. And that's kind of where I feel like I'm at with this one. I love the Jungle Cruise ride. It is very cheesy. It totally depends on which tour guide you get, if the ride is a great one or not.
Yeah.
But one thing I will tell you guys too is they have secret maps on the Jungle Cruise ride. This is how much I go to Disneyland. When you get off, ask them for a map, and they may or may not give it to you. But I have one, and it's really cool.
Interesting. Well, we skipped that one when we were there because it's just,
You won't be skipping it anymore.
Well, there you go. I mean, so, okay.
Tiff has a hard out in 5 minutes?
Yeah, you're out at 10, right? You got to be out of here at 10? Where are you going next?
I have to be back in the valley.
Oh, we're close.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
So we go
We're
five
fine.
minutes over?
That's fine.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We'll go 5 minutes over. So we got 10 minutes.
What did you want to talk about, Mark?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of news broke. So I really like the exclusive you did, my friend, which is Hugh Jackman.
Thank you.
The Odyssey.
Yes.
At Lionsgate. I think this is a very, very interesting story.
I really hope that it works out, you know? I think that he would be a great Odysseus. I mean,
absolutely.
if you take the sort of Hugh Jackman from The Fountain, and I love The Fountain, a lot of people didn't like it.
I enjoy it.
But if you take that kind of grizzled Jackman and put him in The Odyssey, and it's going to be a big budget thing. Francis Lawrence has made Lionsgate a lot of money with these Hunger Games sequels.
Yes, he has.
And I think that they're going to treat him right and kind of go big on this movie.
It's begging to be adapted. It really is. It's one of my favorite, things in high school was learning about this book, and it is a movie waiting to happen. And you're right, Hugh Jackman is perfect. So when you say you're hoping it'll happen, he's in talks right now?
Yeah, he's in talks.
We always
not
do the
official yet.
Yeah, the qualifier.
Not
official. The movie press.
Right.
It's like talks or circling or whatever. But it could end. It could, like as we saw with Joaquin Phoenix, which is always my favorite thing that Jeff was talking about. They could walk away. It might just not work out.
Sure, and as we saw last night, there was a situation where the Hollywood Reporter said that Ice Cube and his son were going to do that movie about the LA riots, and then Ice Cube's people came out and tried to throw cold water all over the report.
Really?
It was a very interesting situation, and I think it's one of those sort of pitfalls of doing an in-talks story.
Yeah.
I don't think that Boris was wrong necessarily. I don't know that. I just don't think, like, when we say in talks, I think that we are expecting it to work out.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I expected that one to work out from who I talked to.
And in talks could mean a billion things. In talks could be, they're like, oh, we want to do another film with Ice Cube. Okay, let's pitch like 10 ideas. Because it's like you talk to people and you say, you go into a pitch meeting, and one of my friends who's a writer, he's like, I always go in with at least 10 ideas. So it's like in talks on one of the 10.
Yeah, but I mean, I think in talks is more than like we talked.
I received an email and I responded.
Yeah, I think that the trades have a pretty good idea. And as Boris sort of noted after that statement came out, that Lionsgate has hired a casting director on it. You generally don't hire a casting director unless you're leads or, you know.
Well, I feel like this is blog culture speaking. Then it's like a game of telephone. You say in talks, and then somebody says they are doing the movie and it's official and here we go, and speculate and go.
Because the statement that came out, you know, while they said they have no plans to do the movie, so that sort of shoots down the report. Like, we're not even planning to say yes to this.
Okay.
The other part of it was that, you know, he's not confirmed and any speculation otherwise is incorrect.
Right.
Well, Boris never said he was confirmed.
Yeah.
He said, you know, so it was a kind of weirdly worded statement, but it was an illustration of the sort of things that, you know, we talk about on this show, the issues that actual reporters face. So Jackman is in talks. I mean, yesterday was like a crazy day, I feel like, movie news wise.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We were all kind of like scooping each other and pissing each other off, and maybe that's why Boris felt like he had to get it out, because I think that stuff's old. I think the Ice Cube stuff like has been happening for a while,
because everybody would think obviously Straight Outta Compton is like the reason why.
Yeah,
of course.
Well,
and as you know,
that obviously adds fuel to the fire, because it's like that story came out, and then the one about the DJ,
ridiculous.
Which you're like,
we want to.
Is it just kind of everyone wanting? And you see that happen so many times in TV and film, where it's like something's successful. Okay, how can we like milk this for all it's worth and like squeeze everything out of it?
Yes, everyone comes out of the woodwork. Everyone wants their piece of the pie. You know, the guy who he was the DJ who first played NWA on the radio. So you know he's watching Straight Outta Compton, reading the headlines on Monday about it making $60 million and being like, well, this band wouldn't even be, no one would even know this band if it wasn't for me. I should have a movie.
Yeah, it is a little bit like, my favorite tweet of yours around that time was the guy that first rolled a joint or whatever.
The guy who rolled blunts for NWA
is getting his biopic.
They would have no music if it weren't for those blunts.
Yeah, you have a stoner sitting in the corner eating Captain Crunch going, dude, that was me.
It's just, it is funny.
I also feel like too, that's one of the things where even talking about Star Wars or comic book films as a genre, where it's like we are getting to this point where there's so much of it that people are able to choose to not watch some of it, to pick the stuff that really resonates with them, where it's like Star Wars, okay, you're not going to watch the main ones, but you'll watch some of the Star Wars stories.
I'm gonna watch all the main ones and everything. Don't get me wrong.
Be more excited about them, like a story that speaks to you a little bit more. And for like comic book television, I feel like people are starting to be able to say like, oh, I don't really like that character that much, I'm not going to watch this one, because there's so many to choose from. And so it's the same thing with that, where it's like, if we end up going down this route of like, let's like do biopics about all the cool gangster rappers that came out, because obviously, you know, there's people that are going to be like, we should do a Tupac one, then we're going to do a Snoop Dogg one,
that was
then we're going to do
that was the one I heard a lot of.
What?
Tupac. Yeah, if you can do this, you can do Tupac.
That,
it's like,
that project has been around for so fucking long.
Yeah,
and I don't think that it has the same cultural relevance to me as NWA, which was such, again, Straight Outta Compton is probably my favorite movie of the year. I thought it was terrific. There was just so much going on in it. I don't know that a Tupac movie would have the same substance.
There's just so much culturally in it too, where it's like there are these little mini documentaries, the 30 for 30s.
Yeah, 30 for 30.
And Ice Cube did one about the Raiders, and gangster rap, and it was so cool just hearing like him and Snoop talk about how the Raiders impacted them, and then it's just like, then you see Straight Outta Compton and you're like, oh, I get so much more of this now, why they resonated with this like football team, why that's the style that they chose.
Right.
And so I just think that their story has a lot more layers to it than a lot of the other ones maybe do.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the news that Christian Bale is going to play Enzo Ferrari?
Yeah, that was a big one that dropped. So I'm interested
for Michael Mann, no less.
Yeah, Michael Mann. That's a good pairing, and that's a good. That's a good casting.
I mean, we all want Michael Mann to sort of get his mojo back. It has been a while since we have seen a real Michael Mann movie, which is probably Collateral was the last.
I would say
real good one.
I'm with you on that.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christian Bale, obviously a big step in the right direction. Looks nothing like Enzo Ferrari, but would love to see him.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't really
building
know
cars
that story, so
I'm not
it would
familiar.
be really interesting to me. Like I love cars, and the Senna documentary was one of my favorite ones that I'd seen about Formula One racer.
Yeah.
And then Rush was great, so I feel like there's a lot of good story that you can get there, and it's intriguing to me because I don't really know what the backstory
It's got to be a
would
big car racing movie based on real people every 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know, right? You know,
Yeah.
What was the last one? It was what is it?
Rush.
Rush. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought because I was looking at Luke Cage cast Alfred Woodard, says Jeremy Flores. I know we talked a little bit about that.
Black Mariah?
Is it Black Mariah? Yeah.
Is it? We don't know.
We were talking a little bit off air about it.
And why they call black characters Black Mariah.
Yeah, Black Panther.
We
Black
talked,
Mariah.
yeah. I'm not sure. Not
Yeah.
sure.
Because
You were like, why don't they call people like white, whatever? And I'm like, well, I guess they do have white lanterns, black lanterns, and white lanterns. But that's more based off of the ring that they wear,
Right.
and what powers it gives them.
Yeah, so yeah, you guys are all Team Black Cat. Hashtag Team Black Cat, says Jeremy Flores. Thanks, guys, for jumping in the live chat. There's been so much news, and this conversation kind of spun on its own with D23. So I see you guys chatting there, and no, I don't think we're going to have time for a hopeful news break.
No.
Although I've seen a lot of suggestions there. I did see something that was interesting. I don't know, Jeff, if you've heard anything, or DC All Access girl here. George Miller doing Man of Steel 2. I've heard some rumblings of that, and I did see something pass me by. I'm a huge
Man of
Superman
Steel
feel.
2. When does that even fit into the goddamn universe?
I don't know. You know, Miembe, when he was on here, he mentioned something like that he heard something. Who knows if it's true? We you know, all we need to know right now is if Batman v Superman's going to be good.
Yeah.
Because a lot is riding on that. Did you see that article?
George Miller should just go do Shazam.
That'd be cool. I'd be down with that. No, Tiff, no.
That would be. I don't know.
I think George Miller
Because
should
he'd
go
be
do
like
another
half
Mad Max.
badass, but like half like kid friendly, and he did the Happy Few movies, right?
That's true.
Oh yeah.
I forget that.
He's got a light touch. He's
Yeah.
not just like the Mad Max guy.
He really
It's true.
does.
It's true. It's interesting because being a reporter and working for DC All Access, it's like we don't hear this stuff
No, I
in
know.
advance. And I know that a lot of people think like if I do movie fights or whatever it is, they're like, well, she knows about this. And I'm like,
No, I know.
I
And
don't.
you've
And-
said this before, and
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think with the job you do, it's like, why would they tell you? It's not, you know.
Yeah, it's
you're
not-
promoting their stuff now.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, would that be an awesome thing? Did I love what George Miller does? Absolutely. Do I think it would be cool to bring him into like the comic book universe, obviously after Mad Max? Because I think that's very similar. That could be a comic book kind of
Right.
world based off of like Vertigo or Image or whatever, more indie style. But yeah, I think it would be great. I mean, I still want to see the Guillermo del Toro Justice League Dark at some point. I know that was rumored, and I think it's kind of stopped, but
It's kind of
that
dead,
would
I've heard.
blow my
He
mind.
left because he's making every movie for the next 50 years or whatever it is. So, Jeff, anything else you want to touch on?
I just wanted to say, are you excited for the Scooby-Doo movie?
Speaking of Warner Brothers.
Scooby-Doo, where are you?
Now, it's animated? It's an animated movie, or is it live action Scooby-Doo again? Do we know?
It's
No.
sorry. I was
the reaction to
looking
this.
at El Mayimbe's. I'm look. He's like Mayimbe here is tweeting about George Miller and Man of Steel 2.
No, he
Right
is.
now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Yeah, somebody said John Schnepp was dropping it or something. I don't know
I don't
what's
understand what's going on here. It's like if
we're
you're
off the rails.
Mayimbe goes, if you're posting that George Miller Man of Steel 2 bit, you just got catfished, yo. But it's like, but it's like, didn't he just said he was the guy who broke it? So I don't fucking know what's going on this morning.
He did
I
mention
apologize.
but catfish. I would say, if I could speculate, he heard something, and I don't know. I'm tired. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think we got to wrap it up.
Let's call it, guys.
We gotta call it.
Scooby-Doo.
We're going off the rails.
Scooby-Doo.
Off the rails.
Animated.
Yeah, it's animated.
It's animated.
Great.
Sorry.
Wonderful. Line up now. Whatever. Okay, guys.
George Miller's fucking trending. That's why.
Is he? Oh,
It
God.
says George Miller reportedly directing Man of Steel 2 just started trending.
Oh my God.
Guys, if you don't see it in a fucking trade or from or on Heroic Hollywood itself, not just on Miami's Twitter, don't fucking believe it, please.
Or
Yeah.
like straight out of Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Christ.
Until then, it's not
I love when fake news trends. It's like, this isn't even real.
Yeah.
But the kind of cool thing about that, though, is the fact that the people on Twitter do have some power to say if they're excited about this and someone's seeing it and they're thinking about it, then it's like, look how excited everybody got at just the mere thought of this.
Schnepp broke that on Marvel yesterday. That's interesting. He broke it on Marvel.
Yesterday.
Maybe on
Marvel
Heroes?
Movie News here. No, Marvel Movie News yesterday here at the Popcorn Talk Network. He was a guest. And then Schnepp stuck around and won
Schnepp let it out by mistake. Oops.
He let it out by mistake. So way to go, Schnepp. You just trended on Twitter. Well, I don't know if it's true or not, guys.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar. So we got to wrap this up because Tiffany is a busy person. We're all busy. We got to go.
We're all busy.
I gotta get to work. I got a fucking job, Mark.
Yeah, we can't just hang out.
You
for
got to break more stories.
I know.
That's what you
Actually,
gotta do.
I'm done, man. I got to take care of some interviews.
No, really? Yeah, you've been killing it lately. I saw your interview with Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I'm talking to Toby this weekend.
Toby
Kebbell?
Maguire?
Toby Kebbell.
Maguire?
Toby Maguire.
For
There's
Pawn
only one
Sacrifice?
Toby.
Dude.
I like it.
Lately,
Everybody-
Kebbell's
One name
Kebbell's
Toby.
been like on fire.
I know. He got cast in King Kong this week.
Yeah, and Skull Island. That's,
King Kong, Warcraft. He was just in Fantastic Four.
yeah, he was in
his
Fantastic
career is
Four.
clearly not over
Yeah.
Nope.
after that movie.
Yeah, thank God. I love that tweet, by the way, Miles Teller did. I thought I was having a bad week in regards to the New York Jets. Sorry, a little side topic.
Okay,
All right,
okay,
we're
guys.
finishing out. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Meet the Movie Press on Fridays. Every Friday, 9 a.m. live, we are here. And Tiffany, where can the good people find you?
You guys can find me on social media at Tiffany's Tweets, Twitter, Insta, Snapchat. And then you can find me every Thursday. We have a new episode of Movie Threesome hosted by myself and Christian Harloff.
Yeah.
This week's episode was with iJustine, and I got water balloons thrown at me, so that's fun.
That is fun. That's
you
right.
can see me on Far, Far Away on Geek Nation. We do the podcast every Tuesday. And then
Nice.
Schmoes Know here. And
Yeah.
check out those D23 interviews on the Fandango Movie Clips YouTube page.
I love it.
I think I covered it all.
You did cover it all, and yeah, I mean, just go follow Tiffany because she's busy and she's fun, and you are in the center of geek culture.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Thank you for coming on, Tiff.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me,
finally
guys.
coming.
Thanks.
And Jeff, where can the good people find you? Of course.
At the Inn, Sneider.
There you go.
Oh, duh. And DC All Access is coming back with brand new episodes, I think next month. I'll let you guys know on my Twitter, but it's coming back soon.
Yeah, no.
And
come on,
follow
Tiffany.
all my stories on therap.com.
And of course, I am at Riley Around. You can see me at schmozno.com. Can't even remember. Can't even talk.
Where are you?
Yeah, just follow me on Twitter at Riley Around.
It's Friday, folks.
It is Friday, and guys, thanks. Why don't you rate and subscribe to this, and tell everybody you know keeps the lights on here on the spaceship. And we will see you next week, guys.
Adios.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Spitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only, and not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.